What's interesting is we live in a world that's connected and digital and mobile today. Our business environment and our daily lives are completely impacted by, there we go, digital elements like wearables, mobile devices, social media, and various other technologies. It's invaded every aspect of our lives, right? What makes this interesting as well is at a global level, we have about a 40% penetration rate of the use of internet. People are online, they're connected. In Switzerland, you have an even better position because you have about an 84% internet penetration rate. 84%, about 5.8 million people in Switzerland are active users of the internet. And about 54% of you actually use smartphones, which is quite a massive figure as well if you look at the global average of about 40. So what does all this mean, actually, in terms of the environment that we live in and the business that we're doing? A key point is that, actually, the fact that technology is now accessible, we are connected globally, we are using devices that allow us to interact almost in real time. We're using devices that are intuitive, that are easy to use, that are affordable as well. It's created a new kind of customer, a new kind of community, a new kind of human being. I like to call them the consumers 2.0. Right? Apart from being connected and comfortable with using technology across all age groups, they're also more comfortable with data privacy and protection issues. They're getting more open towards it. We're also getting more comfortable using technology in different aspects of our lives. I wake up in the morning, the first thing I reach for, well, apart from my husband, I also reach for my mobile device. Right? One hand's saying hello to him, the other hand's checking my email and my social media sites. Right? When I'm watching TV in the evening, I have my mobile device on. I'm tweeting as I'm watching The Walking Dead or The Good Wife or whatever shows. I'm tweeting at the same time. I'm talking to people across the globe who are watching the same show, the same episode, or have seen the same episode. We're having discussions around what's going on. When something appears on TV, an advertisement, for example, I go online straight away and I check if I can get a better price than what's offered on TV, for example, or what's offered in the stores. These behaviors are not unique to me. It's a significantly growing number of people who are actually adopting these kinds of behaviors. And what's interesting for you as an organization is when the consumer base changes, they change the entire financial services industry. And that impacts you, whether it's direct or indirect impact. These are customers, these are people who are comfortable going online and buying. E-commerce growth, mobile commerce growth has exploded over the last couple of years. In Switzerland alone, we're talking about a market of 9.1 billion francs for e-commerce. And 30%, more than 30%, of people who actually are comfortable purchasing online. We have about 4.7 million people in Switzerland who are comfortable purchasing online, who purchase at least once every couple of months. And they're comfortable going and putting in their credit card information, using apps like PayPal or even any of the other apps, banking apps, to purchase online. And of that, 32% of the people who actually are comfortable with e-commerce like to use apps to purchase with their mobile devices. It's a growing trend, and this is an interesting trend for you as well to have a look at. Apart from behaviors and changes in the general community around us, there are also technologies that have been disrupting our industries, our business. There are quite a few out there. These days, technology is developing at such a rapid pace, it's almost difficult to keep up. But I've identified a few here that I think are very relevant. And later during the discussion, you can bring up others as well if you have more examples. But I think these are pretty cool. Big data and analytics, not new, but it's reached a point where it's being adopted by most companies to get a better understanding of the trends that are developing, to get a better understanding of the consumer base. Today, with information, for example, from social media platforms, you can actually gain a better understanding of customers, not just around sentiment, what they like and dislike, but really go into the depths of understanding motivation. What drives the customer? What would make them purchase something? What would make them change their mind about something? How does the entire customer journey change? Right? There is a company in the US called Hedge Chatter, and they are a small startup that basically specializes in using social media data to help companies understand the impact on financial performance. Right? So how does sentiment on social media, and beyond just sentiment, right? How does this, could we use these types of data, could we use this understanding of the markets and people in the markets to basically get a better understanding of how that's going to be impacting market performance? And also around stock research. So it's a very interesting development in terms of how this data is being used. Right? And of course, you have the mobile payments, developing very rapidly at the moment. Right? If we just think about mobile payments, Amazon's payment unit, everyone's familiar with Amazon's payment units, right? They have about 2.23 million active users at the moment. And they have a 200% annual growth for the number of merchants who are actually using their services. 200%, that's a massive number, right? We're also seeing the regulatory environment align itself towards these technologies. For example, within payments, recently the PSD2 initiative by the European Commission, they've actually launched a directive that basically encourages mobile payments. And they want to standardize that across Europe. This encourages new entrants in the market, encourages new small players who are actually providing these types of API technology, apps that make payments easier. Machine learning, that's a very interesting one as well. Things like robo-advisors, for example, that could be applied. It's an automated system that allows you to, that basically learns on its own and reduces the need for human interaction in terms of wealth management solutions. There are quite a few services like future advisors at the moment. Right, and they're basically able to ask questions, learn from experience, learn from data sets, and execute on decisions with very little human interaction. So how does this impact the market? We're seeing quite a large number of financial services providers starting to implement these types of machine learning systems. Blockchain, very well discussed, right? Everybody's talking about blockchain these days. It's basically a public ledger system that's automated. It allows you to record automatically and digitally large, high-volume transactions. Right? But it's actually seeping its way into so many different areas, things like smart contracts, real estate contract implementations,